So thanks, Karen, for joining me. I know you've just completed our 6-step trauma recovery program. Was it maybe 3-4 weeks ago now? And I saw such a transformation in you. I just really wanted to have a chat with you so you could share your story of your journey with us and your journey with Manna over this. So thank you. Thanks for joining me. And I'm just going to ask a couple of questions as we go through this. But, how did you first come across Manna and what she does?
Yeah, so I was seeking some type of help and support to move forward along in my journey, because I became a little bit stagnated after having so many different therapies. I just knew that even though them other therapies had got me to reach out further, there was just still more that needed to be worked on myself. So I was just sort of scanning, Googling, and I also believe in the power of the universe, and it just brought me to Manna. I went on the free monthly one, the trauma, and from that session, I just knew that I'd gained so much from the session that I then went on to sign up to the trigger dissolving, and I benefited so much from that I then went on to the trauma program.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So you mentioned there that you did quite a few therapies. You've done them in the past. Can I ask what sort of have you done? What did you try before to resolve your problems, and why do you think they worked?
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether they didn't work or they just wasn't right at the time, or they done as good as what they could have at the time. So I had tried CBT. I tried EMDR. I'd also tried yoga and meditation, and I'd also done Reiki. Now, all of them separate sort of helped along the way, but they just never got me to that place that I knew that there was just still more to do.
Right. And I remember you saying that you had quite a few sessions of one of them, which it was EMDR.
EMDR. And EMDR was fantastic in itself, but it never actually created that inner peace within myself. It never actually created the connection that Manna was able to do for me. So, I used the word I did enjoy EMDR. It wasn't that I wouldn't recommend EMDR, but it just never done what Manna done. Manna done so much more. Healing's a journey, and Manna's been able to put me on that right journey to keep continuing to heal.
Tell me then a little bit about the program when you started it. You obviously came into our trigger dissolver, and you said you noticed something straight away that happened, or something that was a major shift for you. Do you want to just delve into that a little bit for me, please?
Yeah. So after the first session, I could recognize myself in the pattern of my behavior. I could recognize the pattern from where I was to where I've been to where I actually was of today. And then that helped me to identify me, because throughout my healing journey, I'd lost the identity of me, where that then gave me good solid grounds to go, well, this is where I am and this is where I want to get to. But where I want to get to is still part of the journey. It's just that trigger dissolving allowed me to recognize it. And I think recognizing it then gave me sort of the power to keep working with it, because I didn't know where I was on the scale before then.
Awesome. And when you then started with the 6-week trauma recovery program, was the time, tell us a little bit about your journey on there. Was it like, was it all fun and games and plain sailing? Or was it, did you find you had ups and downs? What was that like for you?
Yeah, extremely challenging. Just like the healing journey itself is extremely challenging, but challenging in different ways, because sometimes it's not nice to look at your raw self and identify your raw self. It's easier to just keep looking elsewhere for a problem and a solution. So when I was looking at myself and my behavior and my traits and identifying them in the right way, it let me sort of have a reborn visit of myself and identify exactly who he was. And there was, without giving too much away the program, there was a bit on the program where we was Play-Doh. So in my mind, I identified myself as Play-Doh, and I can now be anyone I actually want to be. So that then created a really good solid foundation for me to keep working from. It was a very good tool for me to keep working on. And I mentioned to my husband that I feel like my eyes are the same, but my vision's totally different, and my vision moving forward is totally different. You know, still probably don't know where I'm going, but does anyone? But
Mm.
I just know that my vision has got hope and to move forward. And I just know that them couple of weeks, that transition has give me a new lease of life.
Mm. So I
Mhm.
think one of the great things is you know, once we've healed that past, we can then, you know, the difference is how we look forward to the future rather than being stuck. So it sounds like that's where you moved, and now when you're looking, that new vision is seeing that into the future,
Yeah,
which is great.
100%. And
Mm.
I'd lost sight of that over the past couple of years.
Mm.
I'd lost sight of the vision because I was just struggling with the day. So now, you know, even though I'm still working on the day, I've got the vision for the future.
Mm. Mm.
Mm.
That's awesome. What do you think that Manna does differently to anything else that you've done?
You know what, Andy? I think it's because you're not you're not telling your story. So you're not
Mm.
sharing what you share in your mind constantly. So, and if I do reflection on the EMDR, you're reliving the story through the healing. But Manna sort of has that different approach where she approaches your subconscious bit of your brain, the bit that's stuck in the moment,
Mm.
and then you're working on you rather than you telling your story and then working together. So I found that that was the difference in the therapy, that I didn't have to put in all the glory bits and all the good and the bad bits. And sometimes, even throughout therapies, you may feel like you're being judged slightly in sharing them thoughts and your journey, where Manna doesn't actually need to know that, because
Mm.
she's just dealing with the trauma, and the trauma that what I've experienced and possibly still experiencing up today.
Mm. That's awesome. Yeah, and I would absolutely completely agree with you there that, you know, um, not having to share that story is not reliving it once again.
Yeah,
You know, so
yeah,
you can actually start
100%.
to move forward from that. So fantastic. And can you tell me? I know it's only been a few weeks, but how has life changed since you've completed the program?
Yeah, you know what? It's changed massively. It's changed in a way that I'm back connected with me. I'm still working on me, but I'm connected with me. Do you know? I feel like I've got feelings again. You know, for example, you know, I took my plants out and watered them all down just to give them a new little lease of life. Now, that would have been something that I'll quote the older person of me, but the trauma person of me wasn't seeing any of that.
Mm.
So I feel like I'm connecting back to me.
Mm. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And last question is there anything you'd like to say to Manna?
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for being in my life and thanks for being in other people's lives. And I'm not an easy one to crack, I must say. Like, I'm not an easy one, and I always like the proof to be in the pudding, and that's how I recommend things. And you've totally changed my life, and I can only imagine what you've done to other people and what you continue to do to other people. So thanks very much, Manna. Thank you.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Karen. And you know, your story, I hope will be transformational for other people as well. So I really appreciate you sharing that today.
Thank you. Thanks, Andy.
All right, thank you.